Welcome to our Speaker Spotlight conversation. I'm Brandon Taylor for IT Pro Today and Information Week, and we're getting closer to our August 24th launch day for our virtual event titled Cyber Resilience 2023, How to Keep Operations Running No Matter What. And this event is presented by IT Pro Today and Information Week. I'm connecting with a very special guest today, Candy Alexander, who is the CISO and Security Practice Lead at Neueon. Candy is an international award-winning cybersecurity executive with over 30 years of experience. She currently assists companies by improving their cyber risk and security programs through business alignment. And we'll jump into more of Candy's specific experience and accolades, but I just wanted to give a brief introduction for her. Candy will be our featured keynote speaker presenting during the opening session beginning at 11 a.m. And her keynote will be titled Enterprises' Biggest Obstacles to Maintaining Cyber Resiliency in 2023. And this keynote will be sponsored by our friends at Automox. And so the Spotlight is a space where I like to allow our featured keynote speakers to come and introduce themselves and just give us a brief background about themselves, and also give us a small preview of what to expect from their presentations. So welcome, Candy. Thank you so much for joining me today. And to start, will you just talk about your role as the international president for the ISSA and just how your initiatives are impacting the industry?
Sure. I have been on the International Board of Directors since like 2001 or 2. So it's been a long journey. In the past 5 years, I have been honored and privileged to serve as the international president. So what is ISSA, you might ask yourself? ISSA, or Information Systems Security Association, is a agnostic professional association that has been dedicated to the information or cybersecurity professional. And what that really means is that it's a group of like-minded people trying to help each other in building their personal networks, as well as developing the skills necessary to be successful in their organizations and the roles that they fulfill. So it's a huge mission that has been, next year actually is the 40th anniversary. So we are
Awesome.
the oldest and the coolest, might I add, association for professionals in cyber and, of course, information security.
And so you've obviously carved out a significant role in advancing and raising the profile of the cybersecurity industry. You were named the #1 global influencer of security executives for 2020 by IFSEC Global. Can you just explain what that means to you and highlight some of the work that led to that level of recognition?
Yeah, I was completely taken by surprise by that. I am one of those individuals that a former boss had said to me a long time ago, you're so busy pushing that boulder up the hill, you
Right.
forget how far you've come. And so, I can only imagine it's through that heads down, pushing and grinding away at, the rock that we are all looking to move forward. And that, of course, is protecting our organizations and environments. And again, I've been doing this for a really long time. When there was like, as a fellow colleague used to say to me, all three of us in cyber or information security worked and we still stay connected. So I've really done just about everything, truly worked my way up the ranks. So I can only assume that through the various organizations that I've worked for and volunteered my time with the ISSA, that that's how I was recognized.
Awesome. And so your voice has been vital in establishing and co-leading the annual ISSA and ESG research project that aims to uncover challenges faced by cybersecurity professionals worldwide. So when we think about your upcoming keynote on enterprises' biggest obstacles to maintaining cyber resiliency, We know that innovation isn't solely about new and better functionality. It also means reducing the likelihood that the technology itself will bring down the business. What would be your top three hurdles to maintaining business continuity and security?
You know, the interesting thing about what we do in cyber or even IT or business systems technology in general is trying to support the business and keep the business running, right? I mean,
Right.
a lot of metrics are on uptime and availability and all of that stuff. But really, the part that we take to heart and really forget oftentimes, we're supporting a business. So the biggest hurdle, in my opinion, is to, align back with that business. When we looked at whether it was the technology research survey, we partnered at ISSA with ESG Enterprise Strategy Group, or the cyber professional research that we did, the biggest hurdle really is us aligning with the business. And what really blows my mind is in that research, we've said year after year, we're happy in our jobs, but we don't feel supported. We don't get enough resources, and resources, by the way, are staffing, budget, and just general support. So how can we be so happy when we're not supported by the business? So I think, we need to wake up, smell the coffee
Right.
and stop talking to the business like they understand technology. One of my favorite clients, our reporter, our champion is the CFO. And he says to me all the time, and again, I love him. He's my favorite because he's so brutally honest. He'll say, Candy, I don't understand that technical stuff. Tell me what it is. I need to know. And so, of course, one of the first things we learn is to speak to your audience, know who your audience is. So why do we as cyber executives and professionals walk into the boardroom, walk into the C-suite, or even walk into a department meeting and believe that they understand what we're saying? We need to put it in business terms. We need to talk their talk, walk their walk. So when we need to get that, resources to build a good cyber program that does offer business resiliency rather than cyber resiliency, I think we're
Right.
terming that wrong, then we need to put it in their terms and have them understand how we support their mission, how we contribute to the success of the organization. We're just like, we're having the right conversation using the wrong terminology, such as, again, it should be business resiliency as opposed to cyber resiliency.
And so when we think about the interchanging of the terms to be more about business resiliency as opposed to cyber resiliency, what type of competitive advantage does cyber or business resilience provide for organizations that utilize the strategy?
Well, it's an incredible difference. It's a differentiator, right? And so it's like the difference between being able to survive an attack, cyber attack like
Right.
ransomware, and not. So, I have lots of clients that they take the approach of like, oh, well, I have it written down. And one of my jobs, they actually came to me and said, congratulations, you we used to call that business continuity.
Right.
Here, you're the business continuity, facilitator. And they handed me a 3-ring binder that was like 5 inches thick and covered with 3 inches of dust. And it's like, really? And so, I went around to the business and said, what are the first 3 things that you would do if you weren't able to access your systems? They looked at me with, deer in the headlight. As opposed today, I have, again, my favorite client. We were able to survive a ransomware attack with no impact on the financial systems. They were continuously generating revenue. Granted, the office network was hit, but at a minimal amount. And it's because, my coworkers, I drive them crazy, but every time something stupid or silly came around, like, a phishing, report. Okay, let's pull out the BCP or the incident response plan. Let's pull that out. We're going to practice this. It's kind of like a fire drill. And that creates the resiliency mentality. So those businesses, that resiliency truly is integrated into the business. It's just a way of doing business, as opposed to coming at you with a 5-inch, binder with 3 inches of dust. What do you think that's going to do from a resiliency perspective? You got to dust it off first, right? Blow off the dust. Pull out the inhaler because of all the dust. It's to me, it's silly that you wouldn't do that. It's foolish.
Well said. And so digital businesses globally are adapting to the cloud era of cybersecurity. How are your priorities evolving as a CISO as we move further into the cloud era?
This is one of those good news, bad news stories. When we started migrating to the cloud, it's like, this is wonderful because now the risk is on somebody else. And of course, when you look at the cloud providers, the big guns, right? They have the resources, they have the budget, they have the infrastructure for resiliency by nature, right? I mean, you look at, for example, AWS, they have their regions, they just fail it over, which is wonderful. However, that introduces the risk in a different way to businesses. So now, rather than worrying about your, servers and your mainframes and all of that, now you need to worry about connectivity. So the weak point is really on the infrastructure of whatever country you live in or you're connecting from. Like right now, I'm in South Central Maine. I can tell you the connectivity here is a challenge. So, so whether it's, through a cyber attack or just everyday living with people post-COVID moving to, rural environments, connectivity is our weak point. And so that's something, a little bit of a heads up to all the cyber professionals out there and technologists. Pay attention to your connectivity and your networks. So I think that's something we need to take into consideration. And then, now talking, the talk of, making a business conversation, make sure that you talk to the leadership of your organization and have them understand some of these challenges, that set the expectations. Expectations are everything. If you don't set them properly, then everybody's going to be unhappy. So when business says, listen, we're going to, have this region of our business go remote and work remote 100%, fantastic. Productivity will go up and all that happy stuff. But let's look at it from a technology and a cyber resiliency or business resiliency perspective of where's the weak point. And let's make sure that there is that decision. You either accept that some of your workers may not be able to connect, but others will, and what compensating measures can you put in place? So those are the type of conversations to have, not necessarily like, oh, well, they don't have fiber in Central Maine, so we can't allow that. To a business person, that means nothing. That means nothing unless they have kids that do gaming, right?
Right.
So yeah.
And before we go, Candy, will you just speak to the importance of attracting and retaining top talent, and then also just closing the skills gap in the IT industry?
Yeah. So, it's interesting because again, it goes back to what I had mentioned about the study, right? We're all happy in our jobs. And I think we need group therapy sessions like with the ISSA chapter meetings, right? But So from a business perspective, how do you attract and more importantly, retain top talent? And you look at that survey, the answers are in that survey. Sure, compensation is always, going to be number one. It's what we live on, right? But I think the other hidden messages in there for businesses and even security executives are to realize people want to be seen as people and individuals. Get to know your people, get to know your staff, build a relationship, make sure that they feel valued. And provide them recognition. Tell your people when they've done a good job. Also, make sure that there's opportunity for growth and opportunity, more importantly, for skills development. Think about mentoring opportunities, design a program within your staff so that your senior members of staff are mentoring and training the junior members. So the skill development goes downhill and as well as uphill. So I think, that's the important factor in attracting and retaining, good people.
Well, Candy, I want to thank you for your time today. We look forward to watching your keynote presentation on Thursday, August 24th, beginning at 11 a.m. Eastern, detailing enterprises' biggest obstacles to maintaining cyber and business resiliency in 2023. This keynote session will be a part of our upcoming virtual event titled Cyber Resilience 2023, How to Keep Operations Running No Matter What, presented by IT Pro Today and Information Week. Also, again, beginning at 11 a.m. Eastern. So make sure to register for our live webinar at the link within the description box below this video so you don't miss this wonderful event that we have planned for you all. And my name is Brandon Taylor for IT Pro Today and Information Week. And this has been our Speaker Spotlight conversation with Candy Alexander.